Hello everyone, welcome to today's KubeVirt community meeting. Please feel free to add your name to the attendees. Do we have anyone new here who would like to introduce themselves? Right, then let's move on. Let's see the schedule. Is Federico here?
He's here.
Hello, Federico. How are you today?
Doing good, thank you.
Can you please give us a little update on the status of KubeVirt 1.10 release schedule?
Oh, I posted, release schedule PR. Still waiting for feedback from the community. I already got some feedback from Lee about adding specific things regarding the CSS base image to use. But yeah, I mean, it should start in 1 week from now, kinda. So yeah, please feel free to comment if you see something that is weird from your point of view, or also to say that it looks good. I mean, I don't, not only for complaining.
Thank you very much. Are we still on track with the 1.9 release?
Yes, looks pretty good. I mean, we are in a stabilization phase. We are looking at the status of the lanes. There are some flakes that people are addressing. Operator compute migrations. I think that the other lanes are pretty stable. But yeah, I think that we are pretty on track, and we are already seeing bugs to get backported on 1.9. So if you have something left from some web that should be backported, please do it as soon as possible, since release date is approaching.
Thank you very much. Any questions for Federico about these subjects? Great, thank you. Let's move on. We do have upcoming CFPs. Let's see what we have here. Presentation submission due. We have the KVM forum in Vancouver, Canada. And it's not here, but we also have the KubeVirt Summit. And the CFP closes on July 22nd. And the summit itself will happen on October 15th. And to the agenda, Daniel Hiller, are you here?
Yes, I'm here.
Please take us over.
Yeah, I just wanted to ask the overall, because I think we had a VAP around like removing old branches, which I think Lee initiated. I don't entirely remember whether that is true, but so on that note, there was like an action that we should take when the VAP lands about removing the old branches for KubeVirt. And so I have this pull request still lying around, and I'm not really sure what to do with it. So should we proceed, or what do people overall feel? Should we just merge it, or what is the opinion of people, or of the maintainers? Basically, I think that will be the question here.
think we have Vladik and Jed here on the line, and Igor as well.
So let me get that. So the question is what to do with these branches?
Basically, we have decided in the web that we want to archive them. So at least in the web, that's how it is described. And so my pull request basically removes the pre-submit job definitions for the branches from 0.13 till up to 0.57, so that no pre-submit jobs will be running for those anymore. And there is also like the config change for all these branches, which will basically mean that those are being archived. And as a second step, I think that should then only be done when release 1.10 will be G8. That we're running the archive release branches script, or maybe even before. I don't exactly know what the actual process of that is out of my head, to be honest. But so I think we would need to do that in order to get rid of all those probable CI resources. And yeah, I think like 6.057, I'm not even sure who even is using that anymore. So I don't know.
Yeah, I highly doubt that anyone is. But yeah, let's do it.
Okay.
By the way, did we have to backport any CVs to CV fixes to these branches, or we stopped at 58?
Sorry, you asking me?
Yeah, I'm just curious. The latest CV that you backport, did you stop at 58, like 0.58, or did you have to?
Yeah, definitely 58, not beyond.
Okay, yeah, makes sense. Yeah, let's get rid of this.
Yeah. Okay. So I would just appreciate if anyone would just like put an LGTM or approve on the pull request somehow, so that we have the official acknowledgements that basically we can proceed with that. I see. Igor has an LGTM on that, then we should be hopefully fine. Yeah, but yeah, like maintainer approval would be nice. But yeah, I can approve it myself if we are all agreeing that we can proceed with that.
Just to quickly highlight, so that's up until 0.57, but the process for branches after that is still very much under discussion. There is the original VEP that landed in 1.9 that suggested a particular approach. I have a separate PR that reworks the VEP with a new release branch maintenance team approach as well. So yeah, if folks are interested, I'll put the links into the document in a second. But the plan is to try and get to some kind of consensus by VEP freeze in 1.10, so that by 1.10 GA we can then have something for the remainder of the branches in place, some kind of policy, some kind of agreed kind of EOL process for those potentially. So yeah, if folks are interested in what happens with the rest of them, please do look at the VEPs in 1.10.
Thank you, everyone. Speaking of 1.10, now is a good time to post your VEPs for 1.10, and even better, to review VEPs for 1.10 and to review PRs in KubeVirt and the other repos in the KubeVirt org. We really need more reviews. Anything else for the agenda before we go to the open floor? Lee, are you adding something for the previous topic, right?
Yeah, just the link to the PR that I was talking about, the one that reworks the proposal. So yeah, if folks are interested, please do look at that PR.
Great. Then we have another point from Daniel about check tests for flakes.
Yeah, so while looking at check test for flakes, so the basic issue was that Federico was raising something, and we noticed that the fix didn't land as we expected with the automation. So I looked at basically where check test for flakes is being used, and I'm just asking whether check test for flakes is of any use in the release branches at all. So do we have data or experience about how useful that was? Did it find actual flakes, or should we rather scrap that and put our resources like for CI elsewhere? Jed, yes, please go ahead.
Yeah, I'd say it's definitely useful in main, but also most likely useless in release branches because we only backport stuff there. So they've already been flake tested. That's my opinion.
I didn't want to take that ahead. I have the same opinion, but I just wanted to ask for overall feedback on that. Yeah, but I think I agree that that's what my question comes from. So I would basically, if everyone agrees, I would basically remove the check test for flakes lanes for the release branches, if you're okay with that.
Yeah, I think, Daniel, that we also need to. I mean, it will be the same in 110 if we do not change the config forker behavior, because if I remember correctly, it copies the main to the release branch. So you can do it for 1.9 or whatever, but in 1.10 that will be there as well.
Yeah, basically the config forker looks at actually this label that for release or whatever it's called, I forgot. But I would basically just remove that as well. So that when the next branch is being cut and when the next releases or the next release configs are being forked, that this will not happen again. I agree that this should be done like that.
Yep, thank you.
Any other comments on this topic? Someone have added here another point. Would you like to talk about it?
One question. Sorry, could you repeat the question?
Someone has posted here a topic. Would they like to discuss it?
Oh, this point. Hi, everyone. Sorry, I joined a little bit late. This is the issue I just recently filed. We're trying to build VPC-like networks in Cozy Stack. And one of the requirements is that all user workloads are completely oblivious to the underlying pod management network, to the pod side of the Kubernetes cluster. And what I found is that it's that the SSH from the virtctl plugin stops working if the virtual machine IP is not routable from the host network or from the pod sider. So I was seeking some guidance on that.
We have Felix here on chat.
Yeah, I mean, the obvious answer would be it should work like it does with the pod network. But we have an issue with the underlying architecture is that's how Virt API reaches the Virt launcher, and for this to work with a different network than the pod network, it most likely needs to be reworked. So it's not depending on the pod network. That's like the short answer. Probably it requires web and assistance from SIG network.
So from which network it's not accessible? I don't understand. Usually it accesses the Virt API, and from the Virt API it contacts the Virt launcher. So from which network you
Yes,
don't have
exactly.
access?
Exactly. So the idea is that we have user-defined networks, like standard cloud provider VPCs. But then there must also be some kind of management network. In this case, it is the Kubernetes pod sider. And so what happens is that the virtual machine instance reports its interface IP address as the VPC IP address, but different users may have different and overlapping VPC IP addresses, so they're not accountable from the Kubernetes based network. But however, what is routable is the pod IP from the Kubernetes pod sider. But when you're doing VirtCTL SSH, Virt API is dialing the VM interface IP and not the routable pod IP. That's the snag I hit.
It will dial the first IP in the VMI status.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes,
okay,
that's true.
okay, okay, I understand. Yes, it should be. I think it should be fixed probably. I don't see why not. Like it should access the pod IP, the one that is reported on the pod, but we need to check it that it doesn't destroy something else.
Yeah, that's what I did in a fork of my own. But if it's an API change because you need to somehow discover the pod IP, and the pod IP is not a field on the status. So for my fork, I just added the pod IP to the status, but that's changing the API.
I think you can. I think you can detect the pod. We can detect the pod IP. So
Yes, we can, and we also tried it. We also tried it in a private fork, and it worked. And I think that we can do that.
So you opened an issue on this?
Yes, the issue is linked in the Google Doc. I just opened it half an hour ago. And so if this is something that would receive support, I'm willing to file a pull request as well.
Yeah, if you can I'm trying to think, maybe it requires someone to just review it and think about it a little bit, changing instead of accessing the first IP of the VMI to detect the pod, and then from the pod to read that one and try to access that one. This is what we need to check if this will work. And there is now other problems.
What would you expect to happen if there's no pod network? Sorry.
So there is always pod
if there's
network,
no pod network.
There is always pod network, so that doesn't exist. There is no pod network.
Probably got confused, but there's a way to not attach it to the VM, right? Just to the launcher.
Yes, there is.
Just to clarify, you could have a VM that does not connect to the pod network, and that's actually a classic usage. Like it connects only to secondary networks, or even a single secondary network, and does not consume the pod network inside the VM. That's a very common use case, and still it should work. So that's why I'm a bit confused about why it is not working and how come it works if in the other case. So we need to check this one. For example, so my scenario will be that we have a VM. It connects to a secondary network. It does not consume the pod network at all. and you should be able to SSH and everything, and it's not exposed in the VMI, obviously, in the VMI status.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't
Yeah, that
understand how
sounds
it's not
exactly
working.
like the case. Yeah. So the VM, it does indeed have its own separate address that's not consumed in the pod network, but the Virt launcher pod, of course, does consume the pod network. And in my scenario, any traffic that's going from the Kubernetes network or from the host network to the pod IP, it gets DNATed to the internal VM IP.
With the SSH, you mean?
Any sort of, so say you've got a 10.244/16 pod CIDR network, and you've got a VM that's riding on a VPC in some other network, then you can hit the pod IP on 10.244 whatever, and any connection of that sort, it gets DNATed into the VM, into the VPC.
Yeah, but that's again, yeah, I understand what you're saying, but so that is forwarded to inside the guest, but I'm not sure that the pod one will be forwarded inside the guest. You cannot assure that. Let's go over the. I hope the scenarios are
depends,
described well.
Eddie, it depends on the network binding. What network binding are you using?
No, it doesn't
It's
depend.
called on an eBPF.
No, because PAST doesn't support that. We've tested that with PAST, and it did support that.
Again, I don't know what it's. You are saying it supports that, but again, my scenario is that if for example you go to you look only at the pod and you forward the traffic to the pod IP, nothing assures that it will be forwarded to the guest.
Except
Because
for PAST.
No,
Except
even
for PAST knows the guest IP.
Yeah, but that's a hack. It's not allowed. It's wrong.
It's not exactly a hack because PAST listens on all the networks, on all the interfaces of the pod. So for PAST, it's okay to receive a connection on the cluster interface, on the pod network interface, and forward the call to the guest interface because it's two separate connections anyway. Because PAST terminates the connection at the pod and then opens another connection to the guest.
Okay, I think I see what the source of the confusion is. We're prototyping our own custom CNI, and it manages all the IP address allocation, including allocating the right address to the VM.
Okay, can we take it offline? There is the SIG network call next Monday, right?
Yes,
See?
next Monday.
Yes, it's next Monday on 12 UTC. Feel free to join us and discuss this subject in depth. Do we have any additional subjects anyone wants to raise? I saw that Vladik has posted an interesting web about public podnet rendering. Vladik, would you like to discuss it?
Yeah, let me see if this is the right one. Oh yeah, yeah. Sorry. So this is basically for to support applications that are using our Virt launcher as a standalone. Right now, in order to support this, we basically need to use KubeVirt's public functions like the template service and render, and basically these can change signature and are really not stable enough. I mean, the goal here is to expose like a proper API. So we'll have so we'll be able to generate pod spec offline and provide it to those who are those who wish to run our Virt launcher just separately. But then it also benefits us in multiple cases, and I go over and talk about this in the PR. I think here the description is a little bit misleading because there are no 174 tests that will benefit from it. But yeah, I'll change that. But regardless, there are multiple places in our code, in our tests, that can simply benefit from just going through our API instead of going through all of this stack. Yeah, that's it.
Hey, Vladik, I have a question. So when you say an API, is it a Kubernetes CRD or a public-facing function that is exported in client Go or somewhere as part of a KubeVirt package?
It's part of the KubeVirt package. I mean, we generate this KubeVirt API library that anyone can import. For example, other projects like AQ, like multiple of them, they're using our basically our code as a library. So here's the same idea.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
Great. Any other questions to Vladik? Yes, Barak.
Hey, can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay, so I think we have another repo for the API that we are publishing. I think that it is part of the staging directory, and there is a post job lane that update the API repo every time we change anything. So we might want to look into it. Maybe it could belong there.
In the staging?
What? Sorry, I didn't hear you.
Did you say that it will be as part of staging?
Yeah, because we have KubeVirt/API. This is another repo that represents only the API that we expose. And this should be imported in external project, as far as I know. External project that need to know how the CRD structures and all this kind of stuff. So maybe this could be a suitable place for this kind of
We can do that.
APIs. Yeah, it's just a thought.
Yeah,
Okay.
I mean, this package render will just do the overall work, but how this is being exposed, I guess it should be exposed through our normal API.
I think that the benefits of having that in staging is that if someone wants to use it, it's not required to import the whole KubeVirt, but you can just import the
Yeah,
one.
you're right. Yeah, sure.
But
Sounds
yeah,
good.
I mean, it will import the virtual machine, so probably the KubeVirt will be there in any case. So I don't. But
Okay,
yeah, we can discuss in the web.
Mm-hmm.
We do need to wrap up here because we have the C Compute call right after this one. So thank you everyone for joining. Thank you, Vladik, for the VEP. And see you all in the compute meeting. Have a nice rest of your day. Bye-bye.
Thanks,
Bye.
guys.
Thank you.
Bye.